The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the Panther. That dude Biz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying round the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot the death, oh yes, these other sports podcasts live as a froze corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season if people start five. We going in on three, run the baseline, start five. Get it, we got what you need. If it's sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, start five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
That's right. Each and every week, we got what y'all need as always. This is the Star Pop Podcast. I'm your boy, the mayor, that DJ named Ace 5, your mom's favorite fat guy from deepest, darkest Africa. And we back. Now, let's get through the intros. I'm on the wrong side, so I'm pointing to who's going next.
Oh, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? New year, back. Feeling good. A lot of stuff going on. Playoffs today. Those games last night was crazy. Feeling good. Just finished playing 2 hours of basketball, and I'm recovering right now, so I'm eating oranges. But besides that, I'm in good shape. How y'all doing?
Good.
Oh,
We straight.
My fault. I'm good, y'all. What's going on, fellas? I'm here going over my FanDuel as we speak. You know, Tyreek Hill need to come through for me, and Skylar Thompson need to come through for me, man. But other than that, man, I'm good. I'm waiting on these games. I know we're gonna have a good show today. You know, talking about errors and shit. So yeah, I'm good. Jamal, it's on you.
That's what's up. What's good, everybody? Happy Sunday.
And the man, yep.
You know, appreciate today. This, you know, last night we started the American Football World Cup. So, you know, pleasure to keep this going. Shout out to everybody in the panel, TJ, the mayor, my boy in witness protection, Big O. I'm ready to chop this up.
Silhouette on freaking pink curtains.
Hey, man.
But yeah, man, so far, you know what I'm saying? I guess one person's week hasn't been going good since they in hiding.
It's future.
You know, but we waiting for JP to come through because this week's conversation was his idea, but who the fuck knows what he's doing, man. But we was actually having fun. Just I think we're really anticipating next month.
Word.
I think we're really anticipating next month. And I sent everybody a list of what was perceived to have been the 100 worst black movies of all time. And of course, there was something there that I don't agree with. I know we all don't agree with. We already said Pootie Tang better stay off the list, but Pootie Tang was on that list. I know O was pleased about that. But yeah, I mean, you said you was recently looking at the list, man. Like, what are your thoughts so far on how we're gonna do this and what you've seen on that list?
Looking at that list, yeah, I agree with a lot of shit on there. It looked like it's gonna be a very easy show. Look like we're gonna have an easy time coming up with our list. You know, and it's a lot of movies on there that I'm like, damn, I forgot all about that movie. And there's like, yeah, there are a lot of movies that I don't really agree with. Maybe because I was looking at it through different lenses when I was watching it, at a younger age. There's a lot of movies on there, man, that yeah, I disagree with. For one, I'll give one out the blue. Belly. Belly to me, I think I said in the group chat. Belly to me was like a music video, like a 2 hour long music video without the music or the lyrics.
Exactly.
You know?
But, I think that list, the people's choices in movies vary. So I think the list is going to make some people laugh and make some people hurt. So I think people's choices in movies, it varies. One man's classic is another man's shit show. So
Like I said, Pootie Tang. That ain't Pootie Tang. That's Duty Tang. Like, that's
Bro, these
that's
movies, because when at the time we watched them, we were younger, so they have different perspectives and different meanings.
yeah,
Then if we tried to watch these shits now, you'd be like, get all these shits out of here, you know?
yeah, man.
But
Except
there's a nostalgia to the
except,
movies, man.
except Belly. Belly should not have been on that. Okay, all right.
Nah,
Nas,
Belly could have been on that list.
if Nas did not act, if Nas didn't open his mouth, then yes, it would have been a much better argument.
So who stole the show? Louis Rankin at the end of the movie there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Teddy Bruckshot.
Teddy Buckshot. Lennox.
Who wanna rump with me?
Lennox stole the show.
y'all laughing. Belly is still one of those movies that I have not seen in completion.
Get out of here.
Belly has a loyal,
Yeah.
hardcore following of folks who that's one of their favorite movies of all time. For
Mhm.
real.
For real.
Yeah, I have not seen Belly in full. Like, if we were to really sit here and go through, like, and I wouldn't even be able to ring them off the top of my head. Like, y'all would have to name them, and I'd probably be like, "Yep, haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen
Wow.
that." Because
Oh,
I'm
man.
like I'm a live person. I'm like a live action kind of person. I'm a documentary type person. Like,
Mm.
I'm there for the fictional stories in certain cases here and there, you know what I'm saying? But for me to sit down and give my hours to a movie, I have to really want to see it. And I mean like really bad, like want to see it. Like one of the movies that TJ you mentioned when we was just talking before we went live was one of my favorites, Fear of a Black Hat, and that was on that list. And what did I do? I immediately started singing one of the joints from that song. I'm from that movie. Like, come on, like that movie. As I said, that was like CB4 with more fuckery because the music was funnier. It was the same storyline, but like, come on, like you had "Come and Pet the Pussy," the song "That Booty Juice." What the and then the one that I was singing at the dude that was trying to that was acting like PM Dawn when he was just they was like, I see you with the red glasses, and he was just saying because I see the whole world in the same color. And he says I'm just a human being, and then it goes into the song, you are just like me, I am just like you, we all stand or sit when we pee. I'm just a human being. When I do it, is my shit not brown? It's the universal thing. We all flush it down. When I wipe the look at the tissue, most folks do it, ain't even an issue. Like if I could keep going with the whole song, like that's one of my favorite joints. That's one of my favorite joints. But like Jamal said, yo, this shit is so subjective that it's like you could absolutely fucking hate that shit or say you've never seen it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But some shit like that is, yeah. But yo, like, I really wish we might have to do one of these and really subject ourselves to some of these Tubi movies. Because I don't know if y'all looked at. I don't know if y'all looked at the link I sent y'all yesterday. with the woman who does like she looks like she does like movie like short reviews on TikTok. Um, and she's like, somebody sent me this one, this Tubi review. So I was like, all right, you know what? Since y'all asking for it, I'm gonna look at this. And she shows a scene of like a woman that looked like she was being held hostage by somebody, not really a hostage, but like was at gunpoint in a chair and was like, like if you even blink or if you even do something, like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kill you," and she's like, "No," she said, "You better open your eyes," or some shit like that. She's like, "My eyes are open. You better open yours before you do whatever you're thinking." And she acted like she pulled the gun down, like on some like she was clocking back some big shit, and then was about to shoot. And some dude comes in the room, and you hear the gun sound. Before you see the gun, you hear the gun sound, and this woman does this like fake pirouette and lays into the couch like she's like going to sleep, acting like she got shot. And it just was like, if I had the computer up, and I would pull it up right now to show you how bad this scene was. And like I said, it was as bad as the one that I described last week with the guy who was he was a security guard. He gets strangled next to the bed. He was a light skinned dude with a fro. They cut the camera, shows another angle. The camera shows another angle, and then it comes back to the guy who's the security guard, who's a dark skinned dude who was just starting his journey with locks.
Mm. Mm.
I'm not giving props to whatever this Twitch comment is. It's somebody trying to sell their wares on us, but yeah. So yeah, I think we are all the way excited for next month. We decide. Are we officially good with like a 32 round tournament?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, could do that.
We can fatten that
Yeah.
out.
So
For sure.
and we'll break that down out of 2 weeks of the month, so we can do another 2 weeks of something a little more beneficial and positive towards the black folks, towards us people. I said towards the black folks. I sounded like the ultra racist, and I'm not that.
The blacks.
I said the blacks,
Blacks.
like I'm a fucking Republican. But so what we're gonna do, a little inside baseball for y'all. We're going to each pick 10 movies. Then we're gonna put them together, and we're gonna weed it out to where we have 8 selections each, so we can weed out any duplicates or anything like that. Then it's gonna be one random 32 movie tournament. We want y'all to be a part of this show. So get in these comments, get your votes in through the comments. But we're going to vote amongst ourselves, and obviously majority vote wins, moves on to the next round. We're going to do 2 rounds the first week, the second to last and the final the next week. And yeah, I mean, if y'all got any suggestions, y'all know how to hit us up. And maybe we could definitely add some of these terrible movies to the list. But we'll think of another round of 32. No, we won't do another tournament until it's tournament season, which is March. And March Madness is coming. And then we'll decide from there what we're going to do there. Because TJ, last year we did, how many tournaments did we do? And we called them the Sweet 16s.
I think we did 3.
I know we did the R&B one with the homie Carl.
Right, we did the R&B one, which was really good.
And that was the hip hop R&B remix one.
Yes. Yeah. Who made the best R&B remixes? I don't know if you did a wrestling one or what was the other 2? We did a hip hop one, maybe producers or something like that. I can't remember the other one.
No,
I'm pretty sure it was 3.
We'll have to go back and look into the archives. But yeah, we're gonna definitely do something, of course, music related. Maybe we'll do some type of political tournament this year. I don't know how we'll pull it off or what we'll make it up to be, but maybe we'll do some kind of political tournament this year. but definitely hip hop or rap. Well, not just rap, but hip hop culture based. Um, definitely
We
got to
should.
throw in a
It's the
wrestling
50th
one.
year of hip hop, so we
Yeah,
should do something
50th
for that.
anniversary of 50th anniversary of our culture for sure. So we'll definitely do some hip hop related. Uh, I got to do a wrestling one. So it's up to y'all what y'all are thinking. I did
The
we do a
retro one
toy
would be
one?
good.
We did do one for toys, yes.
We did one
We
for
did
toys
it,
last year.
and what won that?
I don't think anyone won per se. We were just listening. We were just listen running off a list of obscure toys.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
didn't
know if
do
Oh
we
the
had
yeah,
one.
yeah. That
wasn't
was towards the end of the year. It wasn't a
Yeah.
tournament.
No, it wasn't a tournament. No.
It wasn't a tournament. So it maybe well, you know what? That's something we'll think about. We don't have. I mean, I like brainstorming on air live, but we'll think about that one.
no
Maybe
doubt.
something like either game systems. I wouldn't want to go as detailed as controllers because that's a little But we all have our favorite controllers too. You know what I'm saying? Like something different is what I'm trying to think. Like
Right.
but yeah, definitely a wrestling type tournament, and I know I could get a bunch of wrestling podcasters and or wrestle top people from TikTok that love wrestling and stuff on the show and all that. So we're going to we'll talk about that and that for the following month. But today, again, JP ain't here, but we still gonna have the conversation anyway. We were talking off show one day, and he was just like, "Yo," like it just kind of hit him. And now, if y'all know JP the way we do, basketball is life to him. Even though we know, and I ain't calling him out, but the brother ain't really. He played when he was a kid. He played most of his sports when he was a kid. Big fan. Thinks the '80s was the greatest era of basketball because that was most of his youthful years. Uh, and even I said personally myself, like I think the '90s was the best because that's what I grew up on. Even though I grew up on '80s, I thought the '90s was the most live, but that was like because of Michael Jordan. It wasn't just his play. It was the media machine behind him, the marketing machine behind him to make him be head and shoulders above. But he matched it with his play. It was the '90s was the era that arguably had some of the greatest centers across the board. And I mean, every team had a decent, if not top 50, top 75 player type center for the most part. Most teams did. Our Knicks for sure, the Rockets when Shaq came in, I mean, and he's not set top 75, but you think of quality players like Rich Smits on the Pacers. You think of what's his
Deadlift
name?
shrimp. You know what I'm saying? And it's for
That
the
was
Sonics.
right, like Vlade Divac and people like that. Like we had, like there was a lot of names uh, in those times. There was a lot of names in the '80s and even in the '70s, things like that. But the point that JP was kind of trying to make in the discussion was like, yo, each team nowadays has at least 2 to 3 people that could like lead any team. You know what I'm saying? And like even he's like he took it even as far as to like looking at the talents on a bad OKC team. Like they still got 2 decent players over there that could kill it on a team that's in a better market and with a better win record, nowadays. But there's so much to break down. And again, I'm mad that he's not here because he didn't really give me no outline to what and how we wanted to look over this. So this is just going to be straight up barbershop talk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what y'all are feeling as far as like, all right, say we went team by team, right? TJ, And
Hmm.
not because if you're light skinned and this is the light skinned champions of the world, but let's compare the Warriors. Let's compare these like recent dynasty Warriors compared to like Warriors of the past. And let's
Like
look
you
at
talking
that
about
real
like
quick.
Run TMC with like Mullen, Hardaway, and what's the other
Richmond,
dude's name?
Tim Richmond,
Yeah, yeah, Mitch Richmond. They were a squad.
Richmond. Sorry.
They were dropping like over 100 points a night with that squad, and they were the only team that was doing it at that time. Everybody was in the high 80s to mid 90s. They were dropping 120, 125 points, and they were like one of the first 3-point shooting teams. So I could see how that tradition could carry over. But I mean, it, it's hard to compare the teams because the refereeing wasn't the same as it is now. You know what I'm saying? Those teams could probably be just as great as these Warriors teams now with the way they call the game. So
Mhm.
I mean, Chris Mullin was lights out 3-point shooter before it was fashionable. You
Right.
know, Tim Hardaway was a very small point guard, but I mean, he had a killer crossover and teardrop move. And Mitch Richmond was the glue to that team. Like he kept everything inside, outside. He wasn't a tall dude, but he was like a mid-sized big man, and he was fast. Like that team really was putting up numbers,
Yeah.
and they spread the floor, and they ran it well, and they won a lot of games in the regular season and stuff like that. They just didn't have enough to get them over that hump. But I mean, that's the difference between them. They didn't have like a Draymond Green to keep the team like somebody to crash the boards and like keep that glue together.
Right.
They actually kind of did
But
that.
he
It's the era they was in, because
Right.
that team would give this team fits because they could play small ball with this Warriors team. Remember
Yeah.
that team had Tyrone Hill,
Oh,
to
Mhm.
that's
do the
right.
dirty work.
That's
They
right.
had Mario Ellie was good on defense. They had Sarunas Marciulionis.
Barcelona, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. Did they have Hot Rod Higgins?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it
Oh,
was
yeah.
going by that.
Yeah. They had some. They weren't deep. That's the one thing. They weren't
Yeah, they
deep
weren't
bench
deep.
wise. That was the problem. So once those
They
guys
had
started sitting
shooters
down,
though. They had
yeah,
shooters, man.
I think by
These guys
today's
would not
rules
miss.
though, that team would have been that team would have been nasty.
Yeah, and
Easily.
I feel you on it's what makes these kinds of conversations sometimes difficult but still fun to have in a way because you do have to look at the officiating. You do have to also look at the style of play because yeah,
Right.
we can look at Tim Hardaway with the killer crossover, but when we go back and look at that killer crossover, we can look at how stiff defenders looked in playing defense. We can also
Hmm.
look at how stiff that killer crossover was. Now it wasn't that like it was like I'm saying it was just like bang and then that's it. But it was just as simple as it was a simple move, but his quickness made it look so
It's the
vicious.
speed that he
Yeah,
did the crossover. Yes, it was the speed at
But
which he did
then
the crossover.
but then we take that killer crossover and look at a Steph Curry and go back and remember how he had somebody who's decent at defense and Chris Paul literally on skates and memed like crazy.
I
Yeah.
think,
You know what I'm
I think,
saying?
everyone talks about how Kyrie has the best handles in the game. Steph Curry is right under him. To have Chris
Hmm.
Paul on skates like that, I mean, Chris Paul was maybe a little bit past his prime by the time he got to the second or third year with the Clippers. But Steph and that's what Steph that's what separates him from a Kyle Korver
He's an
or
underrated ball handler. He's an
yes,
underrated ball handler.
yes, very under. He can get to the cup. You know what I'm saying? He can get to the
Yes.
hoop with
Yeah.
ease.
Yes.
And I think between him with his locker room range, he could basically shoot from half court, and he's dropping 10, 15 at a time from half court.
He's
You have to pick him
nasty.
up from the
The
locker
fact
room.
that he got that range jump shot makes him
Yeah,
more dangerous than Kyrie for sure.
much dangerous.
And
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 and and,
and the
and that
killer part is there's two of them.
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
two of them that can shoot.
Yeah, that's very rare. That's very
Yeah.
rare that two guys came up on the same team and have ridiculous skill like that. Like, what are you going to do with that? Just pick your poison,
right.
and then they
But
surround themselves with defense and a couple of big dudes, and that's a recipe for disaster. But
but
like that team is deep too, though. You know what I'm
it,
saying? With talent.
it definitely is. It definitely is. But I believe though that a lot of these rule changes played a part in the explosion of offense that we have now. You know,
Absolutely.
the fact that Derek Harper, could you imagine Derek Harper without a hand check? Derek Harper would be locking stuff up with a hand check.
Yeah, it's rude. Yeah, I
Ah,
think a lot of these teams would fare differently. Again, we compare in eras, so it's by the rules of the game. And there's some teams that are error proof that will still be nasty and whatever.
Right.
But I think some players' games would be different in the era of the hand check.
I mean,
Steph
look
could
at
always
Patrick
shoot.
Ewing.
Steph could always
Patrick
shoot.
Ewing would
He's
be a
quick.
shooting 7-footer. Yeah.
Patrick Ewing was, as we now see, was ahead of his time. He was tailor made for this era.
Yeah. He would
Um,
be destroying people in the league right now. Literally
but
destroying people in the
hand
league.
check era, Steph would still be nasty because look at Reggie Miller. Steph has those type of skills. He's quick. He can cut. He can put that shot up real quick. He would still get his points, but he would be on the floor a lot more. All those quick ball handlers would be on the floor a lot more.
Oh yeah, they'd be getting fouled hard.
Yeah, it'd be different. So, with those rules,
You didn't have Karl Malone trying to dislocate your eye socket when you was going to the rim.
with them sharp elbows, him and Matumbo's elbows. Yeah. So,
see, but it's in like I agree with everything said because I am of that era. But along with officiating, because officiating plays a major, major part in all of this, the technology behind each sport has also advanced. And I it's hard to say, well, if these guys from then had the same type of doctors and nutritionists and things like that now, would they have been the same as some of these players now? I think there is a small handful from the 80s and the 90s that would translate. And that's why with this discussion, we're going to look at it from like a team standpoint, but this discussion player by player would be different because every generation has a player that could transcend each and every one of them. Like I do think, would Jordan be able to eat today? Absolutely. Very easily in some cases, you know what I'm saying? In some cases. But as Jordan's putting up his numbers, there would be somebody else right there along with him, possibly in the same game, at least scoring the same numbers. You know what I'm saying? Pass-wise. Now, this is where I give it up to my era better than today's era. Like, there's nobody that dishes the rock like a Jason Kidd or a John Stockton.
Or even white chocolate.
Yeah.
That too, who brought that street ball element.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, say we took it from the standpoint of our Knicks, right? Center wise, I say we meaning the 90s, destroys everything from 2000 to today. Center wise for sure. Center wise for sure. But let's look at this from forward and guard play. And we think of the John Starkses and the Allen Houstons who had great games, came up short in bad times. But then this team that we have now, very young, we're still building. RJ Barrett and what's the other kid's name that we got
Grimes.
from Dallas? Grimes.
Grimes, yeah.
They haven't done much together yet as a team. But if we were to head to head, say Houston and Starks on the court together, or say even like Allen Houston and Charlie Ward, because Charlie Ward was a point guard for them versus them two. Like Jamal,
Jalen
like
Brunson would still cook Charlie Wood right now. Charlie Wood was a good player. I
He was a
mean, he
good
was
quarterback.
solid as a point guard. He never did more than he was asked to do because he didn't have it like that. You know what I'm saying? It was amazing that
right.
he won the Heisman and still became an NBA player. That's just like ridiculous. So you know the type of athlete you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he athletic wise, he was gifted, but not to like faster guards would give him problems. So he couldn't keep up with them. So that would be an issue for him. Then he wouldn't win that matchup.
Yeah, he was serviceable at best, at the point guard position. But for some reason, on the Knicks rosters up until recently, point guards are an afterthought. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
How much of a monster would Larry Johnson be in this league right now?
It's just
What type of
ask ask
animal
ask
would that
ask,
be
ask
right now?
Zion Williamson.
As Zion, yeah,
Yeah,
You know,
that's what he mean.
that's
He'd be
pretty
a
much.
monster.
I mean, and Larry Johnson may even have a better jump shot than Zion. You
Mhm.
know,
No, he
so
definitely did. He definitely
yeah,
did. Zion just out jumps Larry Johnson all day. But Larry Johnson could again, he could get to the hole. He had mid range. He wasn't the best long range shooter, but
no,
he had mid range. He had some post moves here and there, and that's another part of like when say now we go to like the forward position and of our Knicks, like Julius Randle will put numbers, I think, on these guys, on Oakley, on Mason, and he
Well, he's a
would get
bull though.
beat up.
He's a bull, man.
Yeah,
You
he
see
would.
now,
He
he's a fucking wrecking ball even now, bro. So I think in that era, I think he'll be
yeah.
fine.
So I think he
he
would
would fit right
survive.
in that era.
Yeah, I
Yeah, he
think,
would fit right
yeah,
in that era for sure.
but happens to be a better scorer in my opinion
Of course.
than the
Yeah,
guys we had. You know, I mean,
Yes,
even take it to the X-Man, like, and the X-Man was special,
yeah,
but you know, but
we didn't have forwards as gifted as Julius Randle and all them classic. You
right,
see, the problem with those classic Knicks teams is we couldn't fucking score the basketball. You know,
yeah,
there's a few players that would still eat in this era. Ewing would eat. Allen Houston would be perfectly fine in this era. You know what I mean? Stark should probably be a 3-and-D dude. You know, off the bench, a
yes,
6-man.
yeah.
yeah.
But then now you're looking at Oak. I don't know how Oak would do now. I mean, he'd probably be in foul trouble quick. But like all those other dudes that couldn't score, like Johnny Newman and the Jordan stopper, Gerald Wilkins.
Gerald Wilkins.
Gerald Wilkins. Oh my God.
You
yeah.
know,
See that
You know who would thrive?
Gerald might be
Kenny
a Gerald.
Skywalker. Kenny Walker would thrive in this league right now.
his
He'd be
game was
like,
all in the paint, though, right?
yeah. I mean, he'd be like a. I don't want to say Zach LaVine because Zach LaVine's got a real good jump
Be
shot.
like Blake Griffin.
Kind of, yeah. Something like that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
see, Gerald would probably be in foul trouble like crazy
Gerald
in
Wilkins.
today's game. Yeah, yeah, he'd probably be in
Yeah.
crazy foul trouble in this era. But
But how would his
yeah,
brother
I mean,
do in
like
this league today? Because Dominique didn't have a jump shot.
But he could slash, bro. He can get to the hoop.
Yeah,
He's kind of like what's
Yeah.
the name? What's old boy from the Bulls from Compton?
DeRozan.
Ronnie
Yeah,
Harper.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
No, DeMar DeRozan. Yeah.
But DeMar
No,
DeRozan's
no,
mid-range game is bananas. Like he has the
That's
best
true.
mid-range game in basketball.
But you know what
and
though? It's
I was
Go ahead,
gonna
Dan.
say comparing Dominique though. Wouldn't you give Dominique more Giannis?
right. It could be.
Oh, yeah.
And
You know what? That's a great comparison.
it is a great comparison. And my point is, it's not that like we these guys couldn't shoot. The game wasn't forcing them to shoot, and it wasn't
Right.
trending that way. So we don't know what could have happened. Imagine that 3-point era. Imagine this 3-point crazy era with Reggie Miller, with Larry Bird, with
Yeah,
Chris Mullin, with with those dudes.
Chuck
With
Person, you know what I'm
Orlando
saying?
Blackman,
Page,
Chuck Person.
Peja,
You know,
yeah, Peja
it's just
Stojakovic, you know what I'm saying?
it's just that the game was different. So it doesn't mean these guys couldn't shoot as well as Steph. I firmly believe in my heart of hearts, Reggie Miller probably would be able to shoot as good as Steph if they said, okay, all we want you to do is shoot threes and put this many up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Reggie was
You know
he
who
was a
would
born
thrive?
sniper.
Rip Hamilton the same way. Rip Hamilton would eat crazy right now.
You know,
Oh yeah. He was one of my
he would
favorite
eat, but
guards.
it's just as far as the Knicks go, we just were not. We were blessed with a lot of goons at a lot of positions.
Right.
Talented goons.
Yeah, and just not a lot of offensive talent. I mean, going back, you know, the X-Man was dope, but you know, Mason, Gerard Mustaf, Eddie Lee
Don't forget,
Wilkins.
we also got a lot of has-beens too, because by the time Charles Smith got to the Knicks, he was
Charles Smith.
He was shot.
Yeah, but you know what? And that was Riley playing a 6'11" dude at small forward, which is you know he's out of position. You know,
Then,
we had Tony Campbell.
He can do that now, though. He can do that now.
Oh,
yeah,
Tony
the Knicks
Campbell.
brought in Tony Campbell and Charles Smith the same year. And Tony Campbell was coming from Minnesota, I think almost averaging 20 a game. And he was nice. And Riley wouldn't play him. He put Charles Smith in there. And you see the result. You know, and then we have Doug Christie for a minute too.
Yeah, we had Doug Christie.
Yeah.
Before he went to
all the players that were gifted offensively, the Knicks just didn't seem to want.
Yeah.
If you can shoot, they didn't want you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll never forget Rolando Blackman sitting on that bench when John Starks was going for 2 for 18.
Rolando Blackman and Hubert Davis, dude.
Yeah.
I would like to forget that, but it's kind of hard to have.
Quiet, right? You see him
it's kind of hard to hashtag never forget.
Yeah, man.
You said Charles Smith, never forget. Fucked up moments. But like, if we were to take this now, if we were to take this now to like, because he's not here, but like JP Sixers, I think JP Sixers of now could give the business to almost any era of Sixers beforehand. Almost.
You think so?
I don't.
Almost.
No.
Like the 90s.
Barkley first and second year in the league. That Sixers team was loaded.
Keep going.
You had Barkley. You had Barkley as a rookie. You had Dr. J, who was about what 34, 35. You had, I think Moses was on at least one of those teams.
Yeah,
maybe Barkley's rookie year. You had the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney. You know when he played. You still have Bobby Jones, and you have Mo Cheeks. So
yeah, it would be a problem. It'd be a problem,
team,
but like the AI years of Philly, I think this era could beat them.
You're skipping over the 96ers with Barkley, Hershey Hawkins, and Johnny Dawkins in them. And Mike Jaminski and Rick Mahorn at the 4. What else they had?
Oh my God! You go back some names, bro.
Johnny Dawkins and Hershey Hawkins, the uncle backcourt. You know what I mean?
The Sixers had two versions of AI in their history. Like people forget Andre Iguodala was there after Iverson was gone.
They had them together for a minute, didn't they?
Yeah, they played together for a minute. But after Iverson was gone, Andre Iguodala was killing it on the Sixers, bro.
Yeah.
He was a monster.
Yeah, he was.
They had Hughes, right?
Yeah, Showtime.
Yeah, Larry Hughes.
But then they had some rough backcourts with like Aaron McKee and Eric Snow. Yeah, man.
Dana Barrows.
Dana Barrow.
Yeah, they had some tough backcourts.
Yeah. Now this team wouldn't beat that championship Sixers team at all. But I mean, center wise though, like Joel Embiid again, we want to talk comparison of eras. Like
he would destroy Mutombo. He would destroy Mutombo.
He's nasty. That version of the Sixers, though, I think the Sixers fucked up when they traded for Mutombo. And I got it. They thought because they knew that destiny was going to be against Shaq. But when they had them twin towers up front with Theo Ratliff and Tyrone Hill, I thought they
Yeah.
were that team was wrecking folks. They were
Yeah.
a problem. And
Yeah.
I think they messed up their chemistry when they went and brought in Mutombo like that.
Yeah. But as like I was mentioning,
Yeah.
my boy, this dude would fit 90s basketball.
Who
Embiid?
Embiid?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Joel Embiid.
Embiid is error proof, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's error proof. He's
And,
like
and,
he's an evolution of Patrick Ewing.
he transcends errors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Error proof for real.
But I mean, if you want to take it a step further, I mean, I think the last 2 years he got robbed for MVP.
Nah, man.
He
say that.
put up better numbers than Jokic.
Nah, man. Jokic is a better all around player, and Jokic was literally carrying his team, bro. Like when what's his face went down, it was Jokic putting the whole team on his back and dropping ridiculous triple doubles on a nightly basis. The dude's a problem, man. That dude is a serious problem. He could probably
and
be
just makes it look
himself.
great. Makes it look great because of how air quotes slow he is. And I don't call it slow. I just look at it as like a finesse. There's
He
like
plays
an
the game at his own
effortlessness.
pace. That's what it is. Nobody speeds the game up
Right.
for him or slows it down. He plays at
Right.
one speed and he's in control the whole time, man.
Somebody
And that's why he's so nasty. His vision.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, his court vision, and he's thinking like 3 plays ahead. Sometimes you can see it as it's going on. The dude he's ridiculous, man. He's literally ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was saying the same thing about Doncic, that he plays his own pace, he's slow, and they were saying that he makes Larry Bird look like a sprinter, and that's the same that's the same thing with Jokic, But I think the fact that Denver plays because he plays where he plays, a lot of us don't really get to see too many of his games unless you just gonna just say fuck bedtime, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
But Embiid, like when it just comes to bully ball, he can do bully ball. He can step out. No one goes to the free throw line more than he does. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, he also carried his team. He also been carrying that Philly team.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The one strike I've grants him is his availability. This is the best ability.
Well,
yeah.
That's been improved. That's been improved the last, I think, 2 or 3 seasons. It's just my issue with Embiid, and it's the only issue that I ever have with Embiid, is remember who the fuck you are. Mm-hmm. And if now today's game is played outside in instead of inside out like it used to be, but if he were to harken back to the days of, like I said, the 90s and the 80s where we had the dominant centers, he would destroy everything down low. And you think that he gets to the foul line enough now? If he would have just destroyed everybody in the paint now, he would get even more than his teammate Harden could generate. You know what I'm saying? I just wish he can shoot the 3. I just wish he stayed away from it, like on an often basis, like on a Patrick Ewing level of you might get 2 or 3 a game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not not 2 for 10 or 3 for 10, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like if he just focused more on the paint, it would be lights out for everybody in the league.
Yeah,
easily.
You know what though? I noticed he starts
easily.
shooting those threes when he starts getting gassed though. That's when he starts getting gassed. That's my only knock on him. Not so much the availability, he's fixed that, is that he can gas out. And that would be a problem.
Has never been the
definitely being a problem for him in the old era, going against Ewing, Robinson, Hakeem, and Shaq.
Yeah.
He would absolutely have to spend double the amount of energy on defense that he's spending right now.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how that would affect his offensive game.
And with that point there, as far as getting gas, this is where we can look at the coaching aspect of everything. Because coaching then probably would pull a Joel Embiid at the right times in certain points of games to conserve him for that late third quarter, fourth quarter pushes. Like I mean, even Ewan spent a few minutes on the bench here and there, even though he would play 35, 38 minutes a game, not the whole 40 plus. But the coaching then, especially on certain teams, they knew how to conserve their stars the right way. And that's not talking about the obvious stars that just kind of knew how to do it in game.
Mhm.
Is that coaching level of things is just totally different too.
Yeah,
But
somebody needs to
that
send that memo to Tom Thibodeau because
that yeah.
he is fucking unaware of that shit. Where he wonders why we blow fourth quarter fucking leads because your whole goddamn team has been playing the whole game and you got a bench
Well,
full of youngsters.
that's Nick's tradition though.
That's well, and analytics. That's where analytics plays a part, and that's why I don't have a problem with analytics. You know what I'm saying? When they'll say, okay, you know what? You'll get more production out of this guy, out of said person, playing him 28 minutes instead of 42 minutes or whatever the case is. Or I'm just not going to sit. I'm going to sit him on back to back on a double, the second part of a back to back game. That's where I don't have a problem with analytics. Now, when you tell me things like fuck the mid range jumper, then yeah, that's where I have a problem with it. Because you have guys in the league that thrive off of that game. Like I said,
Right.
DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, other guys like that. They thrive off of that game still, and they're considered throwbacks.
Mm-hmm. Which that's where that game right there is where again we keep bringing up Patrick Ewing, my favorite player of all time. He would absolutely destroy in today's era of basketball
Yes.
because
Yeah, he would eat.
15 to 18, he was damn near automatic.
Mm-hmm.
But then thinking about somebody who was not a great shooter, put Shaq in today's game. If that team whatever team that he would play on played it inside to out, he would destroy every single center in this league, even Joel Embiid.
Yeah, who's going to stop him? That's the whole point.
Right.
You think Shaq ate back then? You know what? Shaq probably be averaging in the 40s right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But he would have to take his weight a little more seriously. He would be gassed.
Yeah.
He would be gassed in these games right now because
He
if
would be
we're
gassed.
talking about first year, second year, third year in Orlando, Shaq, then yeah, he would be killing it. But you're talking about year 8, year 9, and from LA. You're talking about anything past 2000. You're talking about 2003 LA, Shaq? No.
Yeah,
That's why. I'm sorry. That's why he had that resurgence when he went to Phoenix because he lost a little more weight. He took his health a little more seriously. Then Phoenix, their medical staff was top notch back then. It was doing shit that no one in the league was doing, and so that's why he was able to become an all-star, and it was almost like Rip Van Winkle shit, But yeah, Shaq would suffer. He would suffer now. I think it's too much run and gun.
Yeah, I get it. And I do think so too. He definitely would have to take conditioning more serious because he couldn't be, like you say, he couldn't be LA Shaq. He couldn't be Shaq who, well, I know I have to get ready for playoff time because it wouldn't be as automatic.
Yeah.
And that's another point that JP kind of brought up when we were talking about this is that the amount of teams, I mean, the amount of great players within the league now, there's fuck. Why am I drawing a blank on the word? Why am I drawing a blank on the word? I don't want to say variety, but what's the other fucking word? I am so fucking stupid right now.
You mean
Why am I drawing a
diversity?
blank on the word? Well, diversity, but yes, but the other word that's kind of similar to diversity. It's not
Parody?
parry. It's not parry. Parody. There. Where it's
Parody?
like Yeah, where it's and there's
Prevalence
is
of talent on these teams now.
it's just there's so much talent. Like it just it you know what, fuck it. I'm brain farting too much to even try to get it out. I think y'all are understanding where the fuck I'm talking about, but
It's
I'm
just
just
so
brain
much
farting
talent
on
on
too
in the
much.
league that it's like anybody can go off on any night type deal. Like the talent, everybody's got somebody in their team that's just nasty. Like they can be nice.
Yeah. But like now, if we were to look at this from the angle of football, obviously we're on a playoff Sunday. Y'all got to go watch y'all Giants in a little bit. And football wise, speaking amongst errors, I think this era of football is bigger, stronger, faster.
Way
Now,
bigger,
do I
stronger,
think
faster.
smarter? Not really. And I think when we look at all of these sports in general, uh,
Mhm.
uh, it's just it's it's fundamentals. That's the word I was looking for right now. Fundamentally, each of these games, two totally different signs of fundamentals. Like from basketball standpoint, it's basketball. It's the old school fundamentals were always there, always the generational talent that, as Jamal called, generation proof. Some of those generational proof talents have everything that could be what it takes to play in those previous eras. Football wise, I think fundamentals are still there. It would be a harder case for the old school to have to adjust to this way style because you can't go out there with reckless abandon anymore. You can't
Mm.
use your helmet as a weapon anymore. Um, um, Again, just the way these cats at receiver and stuff cut, jump, run these routes, like it's like I don't know. Like Jerry Rice, I don't know if he would be the same Jerry Rice in today's game fully.
I think
I don't
he's.
know.
I
He
think
was
Jerry Rice is error proof too. You know what's different right now is scheme and coaching has advanced to a level that it was not there before, especially with the zones and all that stuff. Because now you can have a groundbreaking new type of offense, and defensive coordinators only need one offseason to figure you out now. So you got to stay
yeah,
fresh.
yeah,
You know, you guys because
Remember,
back in the
remember
day,
the Wildcat offense?
yeah, you could eat. You know, back like that K gun offense the Bills used. It took teams 4 years or a fucking championship level defense to beat that. You know what I mean? Now you can come
yeah.
you can have a scheme that one off season those defensive coordinators are caught up. The scheme, the
But
coaching and the schemes are better. It's more of a
those
chess game
def,
now than it was.
yeah, those defensive players are way better than the defensive players back in the day in terms of movement and everything. Like these linebackers,
It's
these D
coaching.
linemen are running
Yeah.
four sub 40s and shit like that. Like that shit is unheard of, man. Like 6'8", 270, and he's chasing down a running back. I mean, shout out to Lawrence Taylor, who was like one of the best to ever do that. But there was only one of him. Now in the league today, if you're not running like a 4'6", 4'7", you're a cornerback. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You become a cornerback or a safety. That's not going to get you into the wide receiver.
Right. And then too, we think about it from where a lot of these kids started off playing. Like, how many of these kids were oversized running backs in high school that couldn't be stopped, couldn't be touched, now getting converted to defensive end
Mm-hmm.
because their
Yeah.
size is just fucking massive. You know, like a lot of that goes on nowadays more than back then. Like back then, I
Look,
mean, even still now, you do get coached up and you do like it's more specialized positioning now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Even in thinking both sports.
but back then, Dan, there was nobody as big as Derrick Henry running. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Well,
wouldn't have
Earl
they wouldn't have played him at
Campbell,
running back.
several,
They would
yeah.
have kept him as a linebacker or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or a tight end. That dude is
Nah.
huge.
No, well, yeah, but no, because like I said, Earl Campbell was a big back. The
Earl
bus,
Campbell was a halfback.
he wasn't tall, but he was a big back. You know what I'm saying?
Had
Like
Otis
there were running
Anderson.
backs.
Yeah. Otis
You know,
Anderson, Ironhead Hayward, Okoye,
Herschel Walker, whether we want to
Herschel
mention
Walker
him or
was
not.
good like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah. You're
saying?
right.
There's a few, but to TJ's point, he's right. It's like now there's more of them than there was, now than it used to be back in the day.
Right.
Those big backs stood out back then. Well, now it's like everybody got them on their team.
Well, no. I think they stood out, and there's more of them then. Now there is actually less, part because the running back position isn't utilized the same, and there's really only one Derrick Henry in this league. That now, as far as good, solid running backs that you could equate to, like some of the other names that we knew back then, you got what's the name in Dallas, who's been figured out, from Ohio State. You got
Oh,
your boy
Elliott.
Saquon, who's been figured out. And then it goes to Jamal's point of all it takes is an off season or maybe even 2 weeks of prepping to figure some of these athletes out. Where, like Big O said before, the Wildcat. It took the Wildcat 2 seasons, I think, to finally get stopped because of people mentally being traditional. This is how you got to do. Meanwhile, this coach from Miami decided to bring a little element of college football into the NFL.
Shit, I was gonna say Pop
And
Warner, but yeah.
Well, that too, but it just blew the top off of everybody because they freaking went crazy down there in Miami for 2 seasons, and they resembled the Miami teams of today, where it was just like, holy shit, they made the playoffs because because of some phenomenal play or 1 or 2 fantastic plays here and there, and it's like, oh, they stuck their way into the playoffs and shit. That was the era of the Cadillac Williams, and who else was down there?
Ooh, wow, you said
That was when
Cadillac.
Auburn. That was when Auburn had the 2 backs that came out that were decent.
Well,
Yeah,
that was the other dude
Cadillac
that
Williams.
that was the other dude that played for Chicago, I think. I can't remember his name.
Whatever.
Chris something.
We're all brain farting today. Whatever. Whatever. But just like football is one of those where it's like, there's certain once again certain talents in the leagues that are generational proof. Like, I will say it like this: a Peyton Manning could play in whatever era of football he chooses. Tom Brady, maybe. Aaron Rodgers,
I think he can play in anyone.
maybe.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a scrambling quarterback. He's
Yeah,
like a
He
Steve
can
Young
play in
type
any
dude.
era. Yeah,
Yeah, he's nasty like that.
yeah. I think he'd be nasty.
Yeah, I could give it up. I could give it up to that. But the one thing, though, that I could say the old school was better in when it comes to football is those offensive lines.
100%. 100%.
That's
Every
the
team
one position.
Yeah. This like now, most teams have offensive line problems or offensive line deficiencies. There may be 2 or 3 teams in the league that have solid offensive lines.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I think the league has been suffering for O-linemen for about 10 years now.
Yeah,
I think
you're right, because back in the day, everybody had a solid offensive line. Like,
you know
what? The line took pride in not giving up sacks and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And creating holes for their running. It was just a family thing. I mean, you don't see that type of. It doesn't look like you see no type of camaraderie in today's game like that with the old lines.
They get rid of the ball faster now. If you notice, there's a lot less blindsided hits on QBs than there ever was. It's hard to get a backside blind hit on a QB now. But I think the deterioration of offensive linemen is just it's become unhealthy to be as a human being to be an offensive lineman, and those guys have become so big and so injury prone and so massive because of how fast and good because of the change really in defensive ends and outside linebackers. The offensive, the tackles have had to become so large and so fast and fundamentally sound. It's just you've created the margin of error for that prototype type of player has shrunk down because that is hard. That is hard to find somebody that big, that fast, that nasty, and that fundamentally sound. And that's probably what skewed the visuals of that.
Well, yeah, that's why left tackles are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars now.
Right, and that's another position too where a lot of cats who were like tight ends or just wasn't like they couldn't run a 4.5 or 4-7 to play defensive end, they got moved to the other side of the ball from young.
Sure.
You know, and yeah, like you said, health wise too. Like today's era is far more health conscious. Where 80s, 90s, like yeah, you had them big, look like fat offensive linemen, but they were all built like Vader. And I'm
Yeah.
talking Big Van
Big Van
Vader,
Vader. Yeah.
played
Right.
for who played for the Rams,
Mhm.
also in his era.
Yeah.
Vader looked fat, but Vader was fucking muscle under that fat.
He's in
Like,
shape,
large
man.
muscle. Large
In
muscle
shape.
under that fat.
Those
Dudes
guys are
like
in great shape.
Eric Williams and Nate Newton and them dudes like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's your name? Was it Larry Allen from the
Larry
freaking
Allen. Yeah.
the Cowboys and the Niners? Like the dude who was freaking he benched 600 pounds for fun.
It's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, you don't get those size guys anymore with those quicks. You get the like big is I mean big in today's NFL is like 320. Big in today's NFL is like 320. Back then it was still like 300 to 350, shit like that. But these dudes move. Even
Yeah.
on the defensive tackles. Let's say
No, I was
even on
gonna
the
just say,
defensive tackle. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, look how small the offensive lineman pads are now.
Mhm.
They're not
Well,
those big bulky.
that's something to what I spoke to. Yeah, that part. That's something I spoke to a couple weeks ago as far as the equipment technologies
Yeah,
drastically changed too. Which
yeah.
trust me when I tell you, the smaller pads are better. But like I'm thinking of like size of players, like you don't see no Vince Wilfork size people anymore, or Albert Hainsworth size people on defensive lines.
Gilbert
Now, I
Brown.
mean, my bad. Jordan Davis is a big motherfucker.
Yeah. No, you don't see
Calais
that
Campbell
Davis
is
old
huge,
school
bro.
like stocky nose tackle is gone for the most part.
Right.
Nose guard.
Right. And yeah, you mentioned Calais Campbell. Like he was freaking 6'8", 320, but that 6'8", 320 is at the flip of a switch, he's jacked. Like he's not far away from being like jacked. You know what I'm saying?
But this dude too though for the Giants. He a big dude too.
Yeah, he's a big
He's
boy.
a big boy too.
Thibodeau or Dexter?
No, Lawrence.
No,
Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, Dexter Lawrence is a massive man who's very light on his feet,
Yeah.
which is amazing to be that big and that strong and still be able to like maneuver how he does. That's insane.
Word. But yeah, I mean, it's all in all, though we kind of rambled, and as I said, this was barbershop talk because you always got the brother who's gonna fumble something. That was me today. Y'all brought in a lot of the old school shit. You know what I'm saying? And but all in all, though, when you really think about it, it's hard to judge because, like TJ mentioned from the jump, you got to think about officiating. You got to think about just technology in itself, like the technology today across the board. And we didn't even get into baseball. Like that's just we're not even gonna sniff that because that's one of them games that transition that generationally I think most everybody can kind of transition over to. It's just a matter of now when you think about baseball, kind of like game film. You got to watch and understand and learn tendencies more than whatever. But pitching in.
I'm sorry, baseball did some shit though. Baseball would do some shit like they would fuck with the ball and then deny that they fuck with the ball. You know what I'm saying?
They changed the yep.
Yeah.
The mound height,
remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that year when the a couple of years where the home run total was just astronomical, and then it went back to the old ball per se. Things like that.
It was shit like that I was gonna get to. Like it was rule changes, equipment changes, and these teams was moving the fences back, like Jamal just said, mound heights changing, things like that. And like there's basketball. Forget baseball because it's like they do it to themselves.
They do.
Major
They do, man.
Major League Baseball does it to themselves. It
We need
used to
the
be chicks
translation
dig
to
the
a new
long
era.
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be chicks dig the long ball. Then it became fuck the long ball. There's too many home runs being hit. We don't want everybody to suspect that everybody's taking drugs. Let's make it a pitcher
Too
friendly
late.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, too late. Meanwhile, the quote unquote drugs saved your sport. But
Right.
I've said
Yeah.
that enough over the years.
And I think also,
So it's
man,
like,
those all three major sports, and I can't speak on hockey for that. It's like collectively, they all legislated rule changes to increase offense
yeah,
across the board. Rule
yeah,
changes specifically meant they wanted the games. They thought offensive games and shootouts were more exciting, which
But
kind
but
of
but
pissed me
but
off,
what?
especially in football. But whatever.
But why is that? You know what I'm saying? Is it because offense bring more meat to the seats? Offense equates to viewership as opposed to defense.
yeah,
That's the
You
league.
know, in
It
that
depends,
sense.
but like, who I enjoyed defensive battles. A lot of football purists,
Yes.
and especially if you
same.
played line or anything like that, you enjoy a defensive battles. And
Yes.
I don't think we're ever going to see defenses in the way that we used to see them, like that those
Yeah,
the Bears
No,
defense,
you'll never
that
see that.
Ravens defense, and even I guess the last defense that was like that. I mean, Seattle was just known for being, I guess, rugged, but that Denver defense that one year was ridiculous when they won with Peyton Manning had a noodle, for an arm, and they just
Right.
relied on their defense, But I think as far as those dominant shutdown defenses, I don't know if we're gonna see them again.
Yeah.
Right. And baseball wise too, like I
Mhm.
I appreciate the beauty of a 1-0 shutout,
Mhm.
especially if you get a 1-0 no hitter or the ultra rare perfect game. Like there is something special about it. You just got to be the fan that learns to deal with it
And appreciate it.
and yeah, appreciate it, accept it for what it is, and understand numbers wise how difficult it is to pull
Yeah,
off
I was
some of
just
that
about
shit.
to say that people don't realize how hard
Yeah,
that shit is, bro. And to
Yeah.
be consistent at it for a period of time is even harder. Like they just can't grasp what it takes to pull that off.
You think about it. How many
right.
pitchers throw a complete game?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
None anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's due to sports science and
Mm-hmm.
technology and advances and money.
Mm-hmm.
Money in that investment, that 200 $300 million player investment, you as a team owner is going to conserve your livestock to
Yeah.
produce more milk for you for the next day.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
You know.
When you break it all the way down, that's what it is. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. If that was the case, Dark Knight would still be around.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, but
Yeah. But yeah, enough rambling today. This was just a good one to get it in, just whatever. But y'all know what to do. TJ.
Shout out to you, brothers. Thank you for another dope show. Big O. Uh, I know you ain't no snitch, but that's what your camera's not saying. JG, I hope you're feeling better, sir. Hope you're on the mend. You
yes,
getting
sir.
back?
Yes, sir. This is
All
improvement.
right.
Still a way to go,
That's
but it's
that's
an improvement.
that's what's up. And Mr. Mayor, thank you again. Another show in the books. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yo, great show, man. I enjoyed this one. A lot of reminiscing, a lot of comparisons. Shit, we didn't even get to talk about John Morant and AI comparison. Totally forgot about that shit. But nah, man, great show, man. Can't wait till next week.
Word up. Shout out to everybody here on the panel. Great show indeed. Shout out to JP. We'll continue when he comes back on this topic. Looking forward to next week and also for the month of February when we start busting out our tournaments. But, great show. Can't wait to lock into some more playoff football today. Peace to Ishtar. Disabled plants.
And we're not bringing this conversation back when JP comes back because this is his fault. He missed it. We set this up specifically for him. Hit me up. Yo, we going on 1:00? Yes. I did have my trepidations and I did send a message that we might have been later today, but I guess Giants football prevailed. Plus, they were charging to get into my daughter's track meet, and I said, I don't pay for track meets. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's crazy.
And left.
That is crazy.
I don't. I mean, it was $5, but still, I don't pay for track meets, especially for Staten Island. Nah, fuck you. Fuck you.
They was running out in this cold today.
I don't pay for track meets. What was that?
They were running out in the cold today. They weren't outside, were they?
No, it's indoor season. It's indoor season.
Okay, yeah.
And we have the facility out here, Ocean Breeze, which Ocean Breeze, I believe, is the only Olympic rated indoor track either on the East Coast or in the country.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They have college level meets and stuff. They have big meets here and stuff, but it's I haven't really went. I don't go to any of them if it's not my daughter. So it is what it is. But anyway, next week, y'all, we'll see y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.